after all these years, or all those years, we came back together again. All of
Picard
us on the Picard
Season
series.
3.
Season 3
Which
of
is
Picard.
really, I think, for me, my most favorite iteration of us.
I couldn't agree more. I think Terry Metalis
Yes,
gets a shout out
absolutely.
for not only organizing that, but gathering how important it was to
Yes.
talk to us individually about the 20 years.
in between.
I think he knew that we were all friends for the whole time, but
Yeah.
from the
How we
characters'
how we
points
saw
of
the
view,
characters evolving over those couple of decades.
he did a
yeah.
great job with that.
Yeah,
He
I
did.
mean, being together again was genuinely one of the highlights of my life.
Yeah, I couldn't agree
Because
more.
we had assumed that ship had sailed, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was never going to happen.
Right.
And it wasn't just a reunion show; it was a show in which the characters had purpose, and trying to bring down Amanda Plummer's character.
Right.
That was. I mean,
Right.
we all had a reason to be there. We all contributed to the story.
Lot. Yeah.
Earlier, we said the story was important. Remember,
The story's important.
it's important.
Yeah, and one thing about it, though, it seemed very familiar. It wasn't like, oh, this is so weird to be back together again after all these years.
What about walking onto the bridge of the D?
Yeah,
the
walking
fat
on the-
one.
Yeah,
I was with you in Marino in the car. I've told this story at conventions because I had been directing the week before, and I came, and we were called on the set from the makeup trailer, and it was built on a separate set. And I went in early, or I went in ahead of you two, and you came through the door, and you saw the bridge, and you both quelled, both of you. And then the characters were asked to open the door on the turbolift and quell the same way. And it was such a great memory that clearly that's how important that was to us. And then of course, that's how important it was to the characters.
The characters.
And it was the same emotional expression. Great moment. It made people cry that moment.
One of the things I loved about working on that set was the impact that the set and us being together on that set had on Patrick. Because he had been working, this was the second series he'd done in a row,
Yeah.
right, of this show. And he was exhausted. I mean,
Yes,
there
he
was. No two buts about it. He was dead dog tired.
And he was glad to have us
He
with
was
him.
glad to have us. I could really,
You could
I
feel
saw
it.
him rejuvenate a
And
little bit.
he went back into his chair.
well, nothing was different about the way we behaved with
That's
each
correct.
other.
That's
it was
absolutely
all
right.
exactly
Yeah.
like
And nothing was different about the set, the color of
Yeah.
the carpet and the chair and the angle on the ramp up to Dorn's space. I mean, everything about it.
Well, people say, well, was it just odd being back together? Well, we see each other all the time,
Yeah.
so that wasn't odd at all. But we hadn't seen each other in costumes.
in our
You
space.
know,
The
we were in our
spaces were
spacesuits.
Spaces
fabulous.
were great.
You are one of the great fast speakers in the history of film and television.
Thank you.
And-
I consider that high praise coming from you because
I'm
you,
always asked about the being on the show together.
Yeah.
Star Trek, by the way. What's it like to have to learn all those lines? I said I didn't have to learn all those lines. That was LeVar and Brent. Got most of the techno babble.
he had
I had a lot
large
of it.
chunks of it. I had
Large, yeah.
I had paragraphs and with a couple of hard
But your
words. in there.
articulation and your eloquence and your choices and at such a pace, at such an incredible pace.
And he had not even looked at it the night before, which is really
That's
incredible.
not true.
you,
I
you
had
were
looked
so
at
Did
it
you
the
have a
night
photographic
before.
memory?
In those days, my memory was really, really good.
Like Noah. Noah can do that now.
I mean, Brent would not go to sleep.
Yeah, I couldn't.
He
Believe
couldn't
me,
go to
I
sleep
know.
unless he had
I lived with him. I saw him do it.
Letter perfect.
It was
right?
pretzel sticks
I had to,
and
'cause
dialogue.
Mr. Salty's.
We
Mr.
would have
Salty
been there all
pretzel
day
sticks.
if I had known that stuff.
But I had a memory that was facile enough to get a good sense of it the night before.
Right.
Not necessarily letter perfect, but in the morning, looking at it
In the chair?
in the chair, and then through rehearsals. And by the time we started shooting, I was pretty much there.
Boy, because I felt the pressure so hard.
Really?
Oh, I did too.
Because, well, first of all, Patrick had that,
Yeah.
especially in season one. And it's one of the reasons I believe that we have a reputation in the business for being such assholes on our set. Because all of us were so well prepared. Nobody was stressing between takes of, oh my God, I got to learn.
Right.
Because we showed up
Yeah.
and could roll.
Is that our reputation?
Our reputation is that we were rambunctious, I would say.
Well, we
that
were.
that that
We
we
were
were
rambunctious.
That we were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the trick to some of that stuff that we had to learn, the biggest trick is saying it out loud. You had to say it out loud to get your mouth and your tongue used to wrapping itself
Exactly.
around words.
And don't you wish writers, when you run into a tough line, had read it
Yeah,
out loud,
out loud.
in the room?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But we had guest stars, really good actors who would do a scene and they'd go up again and again and again, and they get so mad at themselves and they think, but I knew this last night. And they did, but they hadn't said it out loud, so their mouths didn't know it.
What a lot of guest stars didn't understand was that the dialogue, the language that we used in Star Trek was its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just the technobabble, but I guess the syntax.
The heightened syntax.
The heightened
yeah.
syntax. It was like learning Shakespeare on a different
And that's
level.
one of the reasons Rick Berman, who was a producer on our show and ran the show essentially, was so strict about us not being able to make any changes.
No improvisation
Yeah.
at all.
Ever.
No.
Ever.
And if you wanted to change a word or a line, you had to call
You had to call it in.
it in and get permission.